We're going on the record now.
Okay. My name's Wayne Miller. I'm a board member.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ed Agus, board member.
John Dimes, Fire Code.
Ryan McSherry, Board Counsel.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jace Correa, Department of License and Inspections.
Okay, I'm going to swear everybody in individually who's going to be a witness in this case. We can start with Ron. Oh, we don't have to swear you in. You're a lawyer. All right. Okay. You guys always tell the truth. All right. We'll start right down the bottom here. I'm a little far away. I can't see your name. All right, Alan, swear to tell, can you raise your right hand, please?
Yeah, I'm a lawyer too.
Oh, you're a lawyer too? Okay, I'll let you out there. You tell.
I'll vouch for him.
The next guy right here, Kyle. Are you a lawyer too?
I am not a lawyer. No.
Okay, could you please raise your right hand? Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, please respond.
Yes.
Okay, the next guy, let's see. Michael McCluskey, you a lawyer?
Architect.
Okay, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth.
I
Please
do.
respond, Michael. Thank
I
you.
do.
Next guy, Peter. You a lawyer, Peter?
No, I am not.
Okay, okay. Raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, who else? Is that everybody? Without the lawyers? Okay, good. All right, Jace, or Phil, put it into the record, please.
Yes, sir. This is case number 1 on today's list, MI 2023-002-609. It should be noted for the record that this reference is MI 2022-005-103. These are for the property located at 419 Bainbridge Street. The appellant is Ronald Patterson, Esquire. I believe Mr. Patterson is here in the room.
I am. Good afternoon.
Okay, whoever's going to present the case, go ahead.
Okay, Chairman Miller, I'll start. If I could share my screen.
Okay.
I will. You see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So you've seen this case before, but just by way of background, I think it's important to see how we got here and why we're here. Refusal letter was issued, which is what you see here. Reason for the refusal, the building proposed building is 71 feet, 7 3/8 inches below the 75-foot high rise. A definition, the residential roof deck, however, the occupied area of that roof exceeded 75 feet. So, and this is my view, based on the LNI FAQ that was issued interpreting the code, which is this. We were designated as a high rise and we were not in compliance, so the refusal was issued. We filed an appeal and we alleged a few things. Here's my appeal cover letter. And getting into our appeal, that the FAQ was not applicable, did not have the force of law, but more, I guess, to the point was that we believed that the examiner did not correctly interpret the code section, and also had shown the board this commentary by the IBC that it was not a high rise. In the alternative, we argued or alleged in the appeal that we were seeking a variance because of hardship, alternate means of compliance and safety, reliance on the code, vested rights, things like that. The board ruled that we'll get to this, but anyway, as you as a board, if I characterize it, ruled that the department had misinterpreted the code because the roof deck was not occupied space. Did not rule on the variance request, but it's in effect approved our application to proceed. It went to the commissioner. The commissioner did not support the decision. of the board and issued a refusal. We then filed an appeal to the Court of Common Pleas. And then we worked along with the law department through to the licenses inspection. Discussions were that really what we're talking about here is a policy issue on how to interpret the code, which if we succeeded, may have impacted the code citywide versus a variance for this specific case. So we reached an agreement with the law department through the department and prepared a stipulation to the court. This is the stipulation. Which the court accepted, which in effect remanded this case back to the board, retained jurisdiction, meaning if the decision doesn't go a way either of us would like, that we can go back to the court for relief. Send it back to the board to rule on the variance request. And so that's where we are today. And in our original filing that I showed you earlier with our appeal, we raised the issue that it complies with the spirit of the code. There was adequate roof egress. The building was fully sprinklered. We have vested rights in relying upon the IBC commentary and the like. So with that said, I'm going to introduce, I guess, Michael, you'll speak on behalf of Bernardin.
Sorry, Ron, if I could just interject before you do that. Just one clarification. You used the terminology that we ruled in the UBS hearing.
Recommended.
We only make recommendations,
and
the text of the letter, kind of alludes to that. And so that's basically, I just want to be clear on that.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you. Michael, tell the board your name, address, and affiliation, please.
Michael McCluskey, Vice President and Principal with Bernardin, 1315 Walnut Street, Suite 600, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, registered architect in the state of Pennsylvania.
And Michael, do you have any documents you want to share while we're going through testimony?
I have them if need be, or I mean, I could pull them up, but
Sure.
nothing other than what was submitted already to date.
So, and you are familiar with the plans, you've drafted the plans, is that correct? And you're familiar with the refusal on this appeal?
Correct.
And you've heard my, I guess, called opening statement. Would you agree it's true and accurate?
Correct.
And would you adopt it as if it were your own?
I would.
Before, we discussed the means of compliance to justify the variance, if there's anything you'd like to add about our appeal, the FAQ, the IBC commentary, and show your plans, please proceed, and then we'll go into
nothing in addition at this point. I'll make sure and pull them up and have everything ready if there's any questions.
Yeah, I'd like for you just to describe what's going on the roof and how it's designed, was proposed. Yes.
Yeah, sure. So on the roof is outdoor space, roof deck, and does not include any occupied space outside of a vestibule for the elevator as permitted by the code. The roof deck is above the 75 feet, but per the interpretation of the IBC and our firm, it is not an occupied floor. The total, what the occupant load is. All right, I have one of my associates here next to me. 166 occupants on the roof with the all of the accessible means required and 2 means of egress provided at this time.
Do you recall approximately when you started the design of the building? Month, year?
Well, I probably started looking at this building, in all honesty, in probably 2018.
Okay.
When we were, it's been a while.
And so you're familiar with the aspects of the code. Could you describe what you see as the alternate means of compliance and compliance with the spirit of the code?
Yeah, really, it all this comes down to interpretation of what's an occupied floor, right? And I can point to examples within the city of Philadelphia even where we have this exact same scenario that has been approved by LNI under the same code. So occupied floor is an occupied floor, roof is not an occupied floor. We are doing this exact same building in many other jurisdictions, understanding that it doesn't necessarily matter to the city of Philadelphia, but it is the interpretation of the IBC that an occupied roof deck is permitted on a type 3 building with a roof deck occupied above 75 feet.
Okay.
Mike, what makes a floor a floor?
It's an occupied floor enclosed.
Walls, ceilings, or what?
Correct.
Ceilings too?
Yeah, an enclosed occupied floor, yeah. And I would never call anything up there an occupied floor, you know, it would have to be occupied for living. Habitable, you know, in all day, night, weather, anything like that.
And there are two means of egress from the roof?
Correct. In addition to an elevator. What is not part of the, it is part of the accessible means of egress, but not of the exit requirements.
Okay.
Will they be cooking up there or anything like that?
The program, is there?
I think we had grills up there.
We had grills up there,
They have
correct?
grills up there?
Yep.
Okay. Continue, guys. Sorry.
Do you have anything else to add, Michael? That's all I have.
No, nothing additional.
Peter, I don't know if you want to comment?
No, I think you and Mike laid it out
Okay.
accurately.
Jace, what do you think about this? Is it a high rise or is it it's not considered a high rise, or is it a high rise?
I mean, I take the department stance, and it is a high rise. I can kind of reference the section from the 2018 commentary. Mr. Patterson referenced the 2015 IVC, and the 2018 IVC. I'm gonna share my screen right here. Please let me know if it's legible for everyone on screen.
Well, I don't know if we need to get into that discussion, because that was the basis of the first appeal, as to whether the code applied a misinterpretation. We're sent back by the court on a particular aspect of whether the variance here will be justified in this particular specific case, as opposed to creating citywide policy. That's, you know, my end commentary on it.
Right. I'm just answering what.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to clarify. Thanks, Jason.
Right.
Okay.
So for high-rise building, you know, if you look at the definitions, a building with an occupied floor located more than 75 feet above the lowest level of fire department vehicle access. So commentary, it kind of enhances the definition. So determining what qualifies as a high-rise building is a fairly unique measurement of height, and is not based on the definition of building height. The critical measurement is from the lowest ground location, where a fire department will be able to set its firefighting equipment to a floor level of occupied floors, as shown in commentary figure 20228. It is not a measurement from grade plane to the top of the building. It is the basis of a measurement. The basis of the measurement is analyzing the capability of fighting a fire and rescuing occupants from outside the building, right? So let me just. Once past the height of 75 feet above ground level, ground-based firefighting will not be sufficient. High-rise building must comply with the requirements of section 403. Because there's occupants past the height of 75 feet, that's the reason why high-rise requirements are required for this specific building.
Jace, isn't that entire section you just read predicated on occupied floor, even in its
Well, I
own-
would just hold up here.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, Jace. It said back in the beginning, occupied floor. And so you're saying occupied floor doesn't have to be enclosed?
For this, where do you say
Backed up the other
beginning
page.
of the measurement? Okay. The
think
critical
it's really
measurement is based
different.
on those.
So may I read the definition of occupied floor from the IBC?
Sure.
So, well, occupiable space is the closest thing we have, a room or enclosed space designed for human occupancy in which individuals can grasp for amusement, educational, and similar purposes, in which occupants are engaged at labor, and which is equipped with means of egress and light and ventilation facilities meeting the requirements of the code.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jace.
I mean, as a department, that's what we classify as a high rise, and that's what we are the authority hiring jurisdiction. I know that Mr. Patterson went to ICC and got an interpretation, but based on our information and based on the chief code official, we are requiring this to meet section 403 of the 2018 IBC. Based on this definition and the research that we did on our end.
So if I could just add one thing, and this is kind of similar to what I said previously when I last testified. As a design professional operating in the city of Philadelphia with our offices in Center City, I can point to examples of projects that have been approved under the same code with the exact same building with an occupant load of 498 people on a roof. And
Understood.
Bill and I approved that. How can I operate and engage with clients and continue to run an actual business with them coming to me and trusting me as a design professional to interpret the code that the city of Philadelphia is enforcing when you are changing the rules consistently back and forth?
And that's the reason why an FAQ was published and we were told that we have to apply it this way.
Well,
But
I
an
guess-
FAQ is not an amendment to the code.
Hey, Mike, where's this place at? Where's this other building?
417 Callow Hill Street, it's under construction right now.
We're 17 Calhoun Street,
Correct.
and you said there's 400, they can have 469 people on that roof?
498,
498.
correct.
Now,
And was a permit for that issued before or after the FAQ was issued?
I don't know.
can
Again,
we find that out?
But
I mean, I understand your concern and your comment in terms of, codes changing and evolving, but that being said, I mean, the timing is what the timing is, and
in a sense, but an FAQ is not an amendment to a code. I'd argue that all day long, Ted.
I can't speak to whether it is and how it's regarded, but,
Sure.
leave that up to Al and I to, and the fire department to kind of address, how an FAQ, what's the process for that either turning into a bulletin or being adopted as part of a
An
code.
amendment, correct.
Don't know.
So Jace, the International Building Code that they're going by in 2018, is that where we're going off of? Is there
Right.
anything different now? Is there anything different today?
We're still on 2018 IBC.
And how high is the floor below, from the ground up to the floor below the deck?
73, was it 71, Christie? 71 and change?
71.5?
Sure, somewhere around that, 71 something.
71.7 3/8.
That's to
71,
the top
That's-
floor, not to the occupied deck.
Right,
That's
that's
the
what I was
occupied
asking.
floor.
Yeah, because looking at it, if that's under 75 feet and we're not considering the deck a floor, then that's my question. That's why I asked that.
And what's the height of the deck above?
83 and change, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
The roof deck, 83 and change.
But Ron, if I'm hearing correctly, and forgive me if I'm not getting this quite right, regardless of whether this is, you're looking for us to determine whether a variance might be granted in the event that this is considered a high rise.
Correct. The first hearing, I think we vetted out this argument that we're having here again, whether the interpretation of the code and the like. And so this is now we're back to court remanded to hear a variance case. And why we justify a variance because of the hardship that we incurred in designing it one way, but yet the way that it's been designed and will be constructed still provides an adequate and safe means of compliance within the spirit of the code.
And Ron, in your opening, you alluded to the fact that this was in coordination with the law department. Is that accurate?
Well, correct. Yeah, the law department
Again today.
consented, and we negotiated this stipulation that remanded this back to the board.
With L&I's law department?
Yes.
From a practical standpoint, John Dimes, question. 83 feet versus 75 feet. In terms of the ability of the fire department to fight a fire, is that? I mean, I know there's certainly a
Yeah,
you
there's a couple things. So rescue wise, right? Our main ladder is 100 feet, but you pull that you need a certain angle. The truck's got to be so many feet away from the building. So once it gets above 75 feet, that really is the max workable range. You have to put the ladder at least 3 to 4 rungs above the top of the building to come for rescue. So something at 83 feet, we won't be able to rescue anybody from the roof in all practicality. Then there's hose ladders and stuff like that. As far as at times, on exterior operations, you run a hose up the ladder bed and you put water through it, and the actual ladder is the pipe is strapped to the ladder rungs, and you shoot water into a building. This is layman's terms, but that's what it is. So those types of operations, when a building hits 75 feet, would be prohibitive, or would not happen because of the height of the building. So I do understand, what the appellant is talking about. It comes down to definition, but on the fire department's end, on a practicality of why a high rise is a high rise, it really has to do with our operations. And once, it hits that height, no, those aspects of what we do are negated.
Ted, I might add that you mentioned about working, or maybe it was you, Mr. Miller, working with the law department. Again, we agreed to this negotiated stipulation, and the law department said they were not going to appear and put any opposition to the appeal.
Where wouldn't they appear? Would the law department go to the Court of Common Pleas?
That's where we were. I meant they
Okay,
were not going to
and-
appear at this hearing today and voice any opposition.
Oh, okay. All right. Does anybody have anything else to add? Okay. I know you're jockeying around there. You always have something to add.
thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, actually,
Dimes, Jace, anybody have anything they want to say? Please say it. Or Ron, your guys, if they have something to say before we go into our group, Amy, myself, and Ted. Go ahead, Ted.
all right, just one question. Michael, are there of other requirements under, I guess it's section 403 in terms of high rise, are there features of the building that meet some of those requirements? I mean, I sort of seen a list of the kind of things that are required, or is.
So are you talking about like in the lobby, you need a fire, command center,
kind of thing,
pressurization
yeah, right,
of,
yeah.
no, I mean, it is not designed to meet high-rise conformance, right? No fire command center, no pressurization, none of that stuff.
Okay, thanks.
How about the sprinkler system? What would it be?
NFPA 13, which is a full commercial system throughout the entire building, not 13R. And this is type 3 construction, not type 5.
So, anybody have any other questions or statements they want to make before we go in?
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, going once, going twice. All right, put us in the breakout room, please.
We have to do that ourselves, Wayne.
Okay. Oh, we have to do it ourselves? All right. I'm sorry. Back on the record. We good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We have a couple questions. And it's for John Dimes, and it's also for Ron Patterson. Is there something to make it more safe for 166 people to get off that roof when the ladder can't help to get them off the roof? This is from both groups now. John from the city and Ron, your group, and Mike McCluskey and the rest of you guys.
Wade, as far
well.
as Lieutenant Dimes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you, Don.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can only really speak to the operational side of the fire department, what our capabilities are. As far as if you're thinking something creative to get them off the roof beyond what our main ladder would be. I mean, obviously the building code has two means of egress off the top. The building's fully sprinkled. There's a lot of things that go into modern buildings that make them safe. But as far as something for me to think about what the fire department would do if there was people on the roof, they would probably try to rescue them internally. They would probably try to get the ladder pipe up as high as they could, try to extinguish if the fire was happening on the roof and then they were trapped on the roof. You know, we get creative and we try to do the best we can, but it still doesn't, it's still prohibitive based on the equipment that we have to do that in a decent amount of time. In emergency situations, whether it be EMS or fire department, time is always of the essence. So, you know, most likely time we would get there, put a ladder pipe up, or the main thing would be to rescue them, get the main up. I mean, they should be out of the building by then. If all the systems worked right, the alarm system went off, the sprinkler went off, the people from the roof, you know, it would be hard pressed to find a scenario where, you know, our main ladder would be the saving grace. But you don't know. You can scenario these things to death. But as far as anything else the fire department has besides interior firefighting, operating interiorly, getting up the roof to guide people out and using their exterior ladders, that's what we have. That's what our capabilities are.
But John, in terms of, are there things that would make the space a safer space? I mean, restricting, cooking, grills, gas service, things like that, that from your experience sort of inherently would reduce the likelihood of a fire occurring.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are roof fires in high-rise buildings. I mean, there's usually a lot of times there's equipment up there. There's HVAC stuff. Times there's electrical fire. So there's things that any type of human behavior where you're dealing with any type of cooking or if it's a gas pipe, anything like that. Yeah, I mean, if it was a benign space and there was nothing up there, would that make it safer? Yeah, but that still doesn't negate if there had to be a rescue from a ladder, then it still wouldn't happen based on the height of the building. But yes, if you made it a benign space with nothing up there besides tables and chairs with no cooking, no smoking, you had horns and strobes up there to warn the people if something was going on in the building. All those things help. There's no doubt about it. But to what degree do you say, okay, that's good enough? That's really up to the board. I can only speak to, what the fire department's capabilities are, and we're restricted by what we have. And that's it. And again, the buildings today are built a lot more safer than they were years ago. And, your sprinklered buildings, alarm systems and whatnot. So again, I don't think there's anything I can offer to say, hey, because they do X, therefore, it's going to help the fire department in their rescue operations if it comes to that.
Don, with this one extra level of occupancy, if there's not a fire command center, how does that affect things?
I mean, to be truthful, it does. The fire command center, a lot of the times in practicality, some incident commanders will use it. Others will just use the lobby of the building, or any space within the first floor, by the elevator and the stairs, right? So you want to get personnel and equipment up as fast as you can, and that's where they like to operate from. So the fire command center, though it's a nice feature for the fire department and it's mandated by the code, operationally, it's not as valuable as some other things.
Ron, how about your group, or Mike, do you have anything that could make that safer? That's a concern, we have a concern there.
Sure, I mean, you know, ultimately, just to remind everybody, right, you know, where could a fire come from, right? You know, the most combustible piece that we'd be dealing with would be the roof level, the actual physical roof level, which all of the interstitial space is sprinklered within that, right? So all that actual
Interstitial, what do you mean, underneath it?
interstitial is between the roof of the actual ceiling of the 7th floor and the TPO roof structure, the TPO roofing of the actual roof. Everything in between there, that actual structure has sprinklers within all of that. So if a fire were to happen within that, that's the closest combustible construction to the roof deck. There is interstitial sprinkler heads to take care of any space.
Okay, you would have up and down sprinkler heads, what you have the down, and you have the upright
into the
pendants, okay.
interstitial, correct, so,
In that section right there. Okay.
correct, so,
And
you
Michael,
know,
what's the construction of the roof deck itself or proposed? And
Are you a
pedestal
walkable roof?
pedestal pavers on top of our TPO sloped roof, Ted.
What are the pavers? Are they wood? Are they tile?
Have not been selected yet.
Okay, so that could be a combustible in theory.
Could be, they could, they could also be, you know, tile or concrete or something.
Okay.
Is strobes and horns required on that roof anyway?
You know, that it's a delegated design issue, right? The fire alarm system is a delegated design issue. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not 100% sure. I know they're obviously required from 7 down, but I do not know within that roof level. But everything would be installed, you know, according to the building code requirements and anything within the fire code requirements.
Is it feasible to provide that, Michael?
Sure, I mean, Pete, as long as you're comfortable with that, I don't think that's a major cost item to.
I don't think it's a major cost item, no.
You know, we're saying if there's some provisos we can provide to the board to make them comfortable, I think that's.
Sure, yeah,
talking
absolutely.
about. Or any other ideas?
That's what we're looking, our initial thing is right now, before, you know, we're not done yet, we're gonna go back in the room again, but we're trying to do certain things to, you know, sort of the right way that makes us feel comfortable. You know what I mean? So, Amy, do me a favor, pull up that list.
So this was a list from an article. When a building is classified as high-rise, there are numerous additional requirements, including, so this is not all-inclusive, but we were looking at some of these to see whether they could or could not be included in a variance.
we
What's
talked about
hard
fire
body
command.
impact requirements for the stairway? What's that? Anybody know? I don't know. Everybody's on mute.
Jace?
Yeah, hold on.
You see that, Jace?
Yeah.
What the heck's that?
It's just the gypsum panels, if I'm correct about that.
Yeah, and Michael, when I was asking earlier, I was sort of saying, are there any of these things that are being provided? You know. As a
Sure,
part of the
so
plan?
first one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one, seventh, no.
Okay.
I wanted to offer up too, and I really don't want to go too extreme here, but just to the extent it helped. I know Mike shared earlier that by code, the occupancy of the roof deck was 166 persons. I have to imagine if we capped that at a slightly smaller number, that would alleviate some issues of a, very large crowd being there at once. It's only a 2,500 square foot deck. There's tables and chairs and couches, etc. I think as long as everyone was, as long as we selected a reasonable number, maybe 75% of that or something, I think that is something to get past this issue that we would be willing to consider.
And I would also just add, if anybody still has our letter, I'd be happy to pull it off if you need be. We did reference since it was referenced earlier by Jace, right? The ICC's published, 2018 code commentary does really strongly go into this interpretation that was not brought up previously. It is within our letter. I'd be happy to reread it for you guys, but I think it very clearly defines how these buildings should be built relative to that, if there's still any of that's in question.
Okay, all right, we're gonna go back to the breakout room and then come back. We've got a few of the questions answered that we wanted, and we'll try to come up with a decision. Okay, so.
Sorry, Wayne.
So we go to breakout room. Or do anybody have any more questions? I'm sorry.
Wayne, I think we were going to ask John, since he can't join us, the breakout room, about those 7 items. I can't recall if there was, sorry, Amy,
Yeah, I'm going back.
jumped the gun.
Amy's good at that. She can pull that stuff off.
There you go. Yeah. I guess.
Well, they stated that none of them are being provided at this.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I
guess,
know. We yeah.
yeah, if John feels there are any of those that, he would have particular concern if they were not provided. We'll leave it at that. You've already
If
kind
they
of,
were provided, if it's labeled a non-high-rise building, is that what you're saying?
it's not being labeled a non-high-rise building. So,
Well,
But here's the thing. All those features on the list are terrific features to have in any building, but they're mandated in high-rise buildings. So I don't want to get in the position and say, you don't need a smoke removal, or you don't need a stairway pressurization.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So every
I
one
got
of those
it.
features are there for a reason, and and to say, that's not really an important one. I mean, obviously the fire command center is more of a I don't want to say the word convenience, but it's to have a space with a table and the annunciator panel, the elevator, everything's right there is a nice convenience to have. The other features that I'm looking at as far as the smoke removal and all the, a lot of them are, would be a little bit more, to life safety issues. So, that's, I don't want to, play switch.
I understand, Don. I got it.
It's up to the board.
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
only from the standpoint that the floor in question, or the level in question, is an outdoor space, that if it didn't exist, it wouldn't be required for the enclosed,
The closed part of the building, correct?
Yeah,
Yep.
so, and we're struggling to look at each of these things and say, well, gee, is that something that, is smoke removal an issue on an open space? And,
Yeah, no. I mean, I've been on roofs. Yeah, I've been on roofs where, I couldn't see it all because, the building was, we had to bail out a roof. But no, if it's not a high-rise building and you're just looking at that roof deck, I don't know if, in my opinion, I don't know if those features would actually, if you're just looking, if you took that roof away, it's now not a high-rise. So the envelope of the building and the floors in the building, no, my feeling is, no, you should mandate those features if they're not really required. I think I just want to speak to again, I'm repeating myself, but the operational capability of the fire department and why things are raised high rises. And in this particular case, you know, we talked a lot about the definition, not only in the last hearing and this hearing, and the appellants have a good point. Well, this is the definition of a floor. However, from a fire department perspective, the reasons the high rise is because of rescue and what of our capabilities for our high rise ladders. That's irregardless if it has floors and a ceiling or not. You know, if people are up there, you know, our job is to get them down and rescue them in the event of a tragedy or a fire or whatever. So whether or not it had a ceiling or a wall, I mean, if people are up there and their feet are on the roof, that roof could be considered a floor, and that's where the ambiguity comes, right? And that's where I guess the AHJ has the authority to interpret those things based on what I've read in my research. So, you know, that's about as far as I can go. But as far as the other the features of a high-rise building, if you're just looking at the roof deck and it's triggering that, I guess, you know, reasonable people can differ.
Right.
Just gonna ask.
We're just throwing ideas around. We're not.
I got
saying
you. I
this
got
is
you.
Going to be
John-
here
John-
or
yeah,
holding
John,
anybody to
one-
anything. We're just trying to come to a solution to make
Yep,
everybody happy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And,
Yep,
and safe. But when we throw these things around, it's just basically, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? You
No,
know,
I
and
got you. I got you.
That's in stone. Okay.
John, from a practical standpoint, using, if you took Peter's math and you said 75%, you know, of the 166, that's 125 people. How long would it take you if you could get, you know, normal circumstances at 75 feet? How long would it take to get 125 people off this roof?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a total guess on my part. I mean, I don't think anybody's ever tested something like that. I mean, to get people off a ladder, first you'd have to get them off the roof, get them on the ladder. You'd have to help them on the ladder. You'd only have probably a couple firemen on there. It would take a long, long time. So you know, I couldn't guess about that. And if there's, you know, a major issue in the building where conditions are deteriorating, you know, you save as many people as you can, so to speak. But I couldn't even guess at that, Ted. I mean, it would be it's not a quick process to get a few people off a roof, rather than even let alone 100. It could be, depending on, you know, the configuration of the streets around it, multiple you know, main ladders going up there trying to do what they can do, and you know, that's what we'd have to do if that was the only way to, you know, get people out of a building.
But the hope is to have a safer way, other ways out without having to rely on roof rescue.
And that's it. And that's why, again, that's why the building codes are what they are, right? With the multiple means of egress, how wide the doors are, and all that kind of stuff, because it's built for occupant loads and stuff like that. And you know, this is like, again, when you have a tragedy or something going on like a fire, it's, you know, everybody does the best they could, and you know, the ladders aren't built to you know, for a mass evacuation off the top of a roof.
Yeah, and I think the good point, John, and as it relates to possibly reducing the occupancy load, it's probably more about, and to John's point, how quickly you're getting the people off the roof in the case of a catastrophic instance down the two ways of egress, less about how fast off a ladder.
Okay. All right. Aim, Ted, any more questions before we go in the breakout room?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's go in the room. This is what we came up with. We want you to follow the recommendations of the high rises, but we're going to have certain things that we would like. 125 people on the roof, non-combustible decking, deck tile, railings, and furniture, horns and strobes, and a 2-hour smoke enclosure in the stair tower, and no barbecues, no grills, no fire pits, or no gas service. That's what we came up with to feel comfortable.
The assumption
Am
is
I
the
missing
stair towers
anything,
are 2-hour rated? Yeah, the stair towers are 2-hour rated, correct?
2 hours, what I said,
Okay.
enclosure, 2 hour.
Okay, got it.
That's one of the items that we're saying we want you to meet the high-rise requirements for the smoke enclosures for the stair towers.
Well, I'm confused. Are you saying, can you state that again? Are you saying from an hour rating standpoint or what, 2 hours? I mean, they're already 2 hours.
Okay, all right, they're already 2 hours, it's fine.
Wait, but I mean, that's not what you just said. You just said something about
You
follow
have to
what
meet, you have to meet the high-rise requirements for smoke enclosures for the stair towers.
but that would also include smoke evacuation too. Is that
Okay.
what you're stating?
Yeah.
Or just the hour rating on these stair towers?
No, we're not saying just the hour rating, they have to be smoke enclosures,
It's,
which probably means pressurized.
so, yeah, as written in the, IBC bulletin there, unfortunately, sorry, the document we had up in front of us before.
Okay.
We don't have in front of us now.
Mike, what does that mean?
Pressurizing your elevator and stair towers.
Yeah, I get it. What does it mean for, I mean, is it? I mean, if anyone's read the newspaper, they know what's going on in the capital markets. What does it mean from a cost perspective?
I mean, it's money, but I don't know. Let me. I'll get it right. I'll get you some information on it, what it means. I don't want to commit to anything right now.
No barbecue, no gas. Does that mean propane as well?
Well,
We said
yes,
no gas service, right?
right. I don't know what you'd be using propane for, because we're also saying no fire pits, no grills, no
Again,
barbecue.
it's non-combustible and the interspatial is sprinklered, so I'm just trying to think of. You know, it's obviously meant to be an amenity space. When we start taking away the amenities, it starts to become not an amenity space.
We're not asking for all the amenities to be taken away. We are trying to make it safe for people to occupy and evacuate this floor, this level.
You did include furniture in there, so you were stating that furniture must meet some sort of. Are you stating like it's only metal furniture, nothing that has any type of flame spread on it? I don't know what, from a detail standpoint, that means. Can you cite something that is something I could reference to understand what you mean relative to furniture? Like it has to meet something, right? I don't know what that means. Because even in a high rise, that doesn't exist there. Or how I can, you know, because
But a
we'll provide
number
the
of-
differential. I don't know how to buy it, right?
But bear in mind, a number of the requirements of a high-rise code are being waived. We can maybe give more drilled down guidance on that, or L and I, the plant examiner can. I don't think any of us can answer that right now. I mean, I think the intent should be clear,
Anything else?
Ron, obviously we need some time to think about this. What do we have to agree on the spot? I mean, I don't know what to do with some of these things. I mean, obviously if you can't, I don't know what people are doing up there if they're not gathering and frankly, it's, I mean, frankly, cooking on a grill up there is a big part of the amenity. It really is. I mean, I don't know a roof deck in the city of Philadelphia that doesn't have a grill. I could live with the fire pit because, okay, but not having a place for people to gather. I mean, that's the whole point in buildings is for people to get out of their, unit and be able to socialize and share food and drink. Ron, you're on mute.
Maybe we could look at provisos in draft. I don't know if that's a procedure.
I just think one thing to note, I mean, obviously, we're making recommendations
Yeah,
to the commissioner, who will be reviewing. And, there's no decisions today on either part, on
Right.
your side or ours. You may want to, see what is issued when a decision letter comes out.
no, I get it. And
John, can I ask you for a moment, just because again, you're just gonna know a lot more about this than me. From a catastrophic perspective, with the two means of egress, are contemporary grill stations in your experience a big fire risk that would be so catastrophic that people wouldn't be able to hit one of the ways of egress?
I mean, that's a tough question to answer. Like you say, any type of fire, whether it be cooking or anything, you have people involved, you have grease. Everybody, even on propane grills, you see grease flare ups. I mean, I got a propane grill. I've had a propane. I mean, I didn't clean it one time. It caught fire. I mean, there's always yeah. I mean, there's a danger, but what's the level of risk? The city.
Yeah, I mean,
you're
no,
willing to take.
I hear
So,
you.
yeah, is there an elevated risk by having a grill there? Yes, but to what degree? It's a matter of a lot of things. So what your specific question is? Does introducing a grill into that space increase the risk of a fire when it's a burner? Yeah, even if it's in a metal box, yeah, because things are going to happen with grease and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess what I'm more suggesting is, has there been an experience that anyone's had with a grill where they wouldn't have been able to run 20 yards in the other direction to go down a set of stairs?
Yeah, in my personal experience, I don't know, but I'm sure with all the research, if I start researching fires on top of roofs with amenity spaces in the United States, I'm assuming I'm going to be able to find something with that exact scenario where it blocked an exit. Maybe not, but I'm sure there's been incidences of, and I know there are rooftop fires in the city of Philadelphia. I've been to a few, but they say to that specific scenario where it blocked a means of egress. Again, just because it hasn't doesn't mean it won't. But I don't think that's the standard when you make a decision.
Okay, and then the other one is, we just don't know the cost impact. I mean, obviously there's a certain point where I don't know what the the pressurized stair tower, and I don't know the cost impact of that. And obviously everything is wildly hard these days. So we're going to have to find that out. Is there further discussion that can occur prior to the recommendation going, or is this just, it is what it is, this is the recommendation?
This is our recommendation. If you want to put something together and bring something back to us again, we could look at it. We could continue this. You know what I mean? You can take a look at your cost structure or whatever.
so if we came up with a list of provisos to submit, you could consider it. I guess that's what you're saying.
We could consider, we'll look at it.
Okay.
If yeah, but the thing is, there's some basic things that we
I
would
get
want, we would get off of, you know what I mean? But you can put something together before we send it to the commissioner. We could continue the case and come back, at the next meeting. There's a lot here to digest for you, and there's a lot to digest for us.
Yeah, no, we appreciate the flexibility. I guess which ones are like non-starters, I guess, when you're saying that
Well,
you want
They were
them-
all important to us. That's why we brought them up.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, they're all important, but
Okay.
the thing is,
Yeah, we considered others and, left them off the list.
Okay.
I get, to whether
Can't hear
you
you,
want
Michael,
to
if
agree
you're
to it or not, do your cost analysis and come back and we can have another discussion. I mean, and then, if it's not feasible for you to do it, then we have another way to go. You would have to go to common police court, back to common police court. So, another meeting wouldn't hurt. There's not a whole lot of things that we're going to change, but maybe you can see what the cost structure is. and if it's feasible for you to do it.
So
Okay.
Pete, I can just add to you just right now, just looking it up. The pressurization will require a standby generator that we did not also have. So that this is the cause and effect that, you know, is a little bit concerning. We just need to chase some of this stuff down.
Yeah. well, we don't
And
have
the
a problem
two,
with that.
I just want to be crystal clear, because Wayne, it sounded like you said 2-hour rating, and we said, good, we are 2-hour rated. And then Amy, you expanded on that. What is,
No, I believe Wayne said we want to have smoke enclosures with a 2-hour rating.
No rating.
So the smoke enclosures component of high-rise buildings is what we were shooting for.
The only reason that came up was because when we read that, we just said to ourselves, we assume that there's 2-hour rated enclosures already. We just wanted to confirm that.
We just, yeah.
And if there hadn't been, we would have said, we're going to require 2-hour.
can I ask this? Can we look at the stair towers and say, this is what is feasible monetarily? It may not meet the exact letter. In other words, could we come back and say, we looked at it and this is how we could enhance, but not, you know, perhaps it's not perfect, because as Mike said, there is a ripple effect to all of this stuff. I mean, there's many more design elements that could change once you start, you know, you touch one thing and it ripples.
Why don't we hold the recommendation and set a continuance date, I don't know, 2 weeks or whenever the next board meeting is?
Yeah, whenever the next meeting is, if it's possible, Deb.
And if we have anything together, we can make a submission, or we could just have the discussion when we come back.
May 18th, we have June 1st, and we have June 22nd. They're our next hearing dates. So you can let me know by email if you'd like, or,
Okay.
you know, if you want to pick
Thank you.
something now, it's up to you.
Whatever you prefer.
What do you think, guys?
I know I'm at ULI in Toronto on May 18th, not that.
Okay, I can email the dates to Ron.
That would be,
And
yeah, that,
and then that way he can
Okay.
send them to
Thursday.
everybody, and then you can make a decision what works for everyone's schedule. Would
Okay.
that be okay?
That'd be great. I
That's
appreciate it.
fine. That's
Okay.
fine. Okay,
For transparency, does the board want to send all the proviso items that they listed to Ron, so that to make sure that they address all the items? I don't know whether.
yes,
That would be
we can
great.
do that.
That would be
We can do
great.
that, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, we appreciate the cooperation and working with us here.
All right, guys, we're working through it. You know
I
what I
know.
mean?
I know.
All right,
Thank you.
okay, guys, thanks.
Ron, I'll send you the email later, okay? Or
Okay,
first
you'll
thing
be
tomorrow morning with the dates,
Okay.
okay?
Thank you. Have a
You're
good
welcome.
Stop recording.
Okay. Board
Wait a
member?
minute.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
We have to wait for the court reporter to be ready.
I got you. I got it.
Okay.
Good? Okay.
right.
All right, I'm Wayne Miller, board member.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ted August, board member.
John Dimes, Fire Code.
Ryan McSherry, Board Counsel.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jay Scurry, Department of License and Inspections.
Okay, you are a lawyer, right?
I am a lawyer, yes.
Okay, so we don't have to swear you in. Is anybody else gonna be testifying in this case?
Well, I have my client's representative, Kevin Matheson. Might as well just have him, he's gonna be able to testify.
Okay, I'll swear him in. Kevin, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Respond?
Yes,
Okay, good deal.
yes.
Okay, that's fine. Phil, put it into the record.
Yes, sir. This is case
Write it
number 2
down.
on today's list, MI 2023-002-029 for the property located at 1800 Master Street.
Okay, whoever's gonna present the case, go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Alan Malcolmson of Malcolmson PC. And I represent the property owner at 1800 Master Street. You should have received materials today. I'm gonna share my screen if you don't mind.
Sure, fine, go ahead.
This aside. So in my materials, you should have received the notice of permit refusal. So this is an interesting scenario. We obtained a building permit in 2015 to put a 4-story addition to 1800 Master Street, which is a corner property at 18th and Master. And for various reasons, including issues with the neighborhood in terms of vandalism, a corporate restructuring and such, and a pandemic. We completed the project to the point of this. We built the structure, the 4-story structure. We did external and internal framing and put the facade up, but we have not completed our project. So in 2013, my client hired a new architect who merely filed the same paperwork that my client filed in 2015. Unfortunately, the code changed where, because it's a 4-story structure, it required 2 sets of staircases. I will say this, that the 3rd story to the 4th story is 1 bi-level unit. So the opening is merely on the 3rd story. But anyway, we're seeking relief from this board to allow us to continue our development of this building pursuant to the 2015 building permit, where the plans that were submitted in 2015 were merely refiled in 2013.
You mean 2018, right?
I believe, I think the building permit was filed in I think everything was filed in 2015, and we refiled such that we have new plans in 2013.
What changed? Why did we need new plans?
Wait a minute, Alan, sorry.
You're
I mean,
saying
2013 is before 2015.
I'm sorry, 2023. I'm sorry, 2023. I kept saying, sorry, my brain's not working. I didn't eat today, and I was expecting not to be here at 4 o'clock. I'm sorry, I kept saying 2013. I meant 2023. Right. Sorry, okay. That's on me. But yeah, so we again, all we did was merely refile the building plans that we submitted in 2015 and 2023. Sorry,
I'm guessing it was expired, right?
It expired, and so if you go on Google, which we can go now, you'll see the exterior of the building. It's up, and the facade's up, and interior. And if you had interior photos, you would also see all the framing is up interior as well. And there were some inspections that were done. So if we were required to put a second set of staircases, we would pretty much have to completely gut out the building and start anew, which would be a few $100,000 in extra work.
What about extending the 1 staircase that exists on the 3rd floor that looks like it could use it? Could you scroll down on your?
Yeah, let me go down. That I would have to defer to the architect. Let me see if I can get him on. Let's see, hold on. If I can go on mute for a second and off screen.
Yeah, sure.
Amy, do you have this screen control, or is that?
No, I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
That's Alan's screen. That you're
Okay,
seeing.
yeah, there we are. All right, so 3rd and 4th. So you're asking Amy whether the.
Why can't this stair tower that shows up on the 3rd floor that's, well, I guess I was looking at older plans that it's a little bit beyond. Could that stair tower be accessed from the 4th floor?
So the architect, unfortunately, is not responding to my telephone call. I would ask that Mr. Matheson, he's an experienced contractor. Kevin, is that a doable solution? What the board member stated?
I'm not following. So I'm zooming in, and what was the
I
What
can't
was the
tell
other-
what stair tower it is, but the stair tower is kind of beyond the fourth floor. Could that stair tower be extended up?
Yeah, my understanding is this is the internal staircase tower for
Yeah.
the building itself. Let me
Correct.
just-
Right.
So, oops,
Yeah, I think, Amy, what you're suggesting would be that where that existing kitchen dining room is unit 5, that if the stair were continuing up, so it would be a bump out on the kind of the right-hand side of that floor that would enable you to continue up from
Or
below.
bump out of the roof?
Right, yeah, but to get to it on the on the third floor, kind of, there's that little closet. That would kind of go away. You would get onto that stair and continue up. So
yeah, I
essentially,
think it
it
would,
would still give you 2 ways down into unit 5. Rather than tying you into the main stair, I think. Maybe I'm just trying to.
I
wrap my
think
head-
that is the main stair, isn't it?
Yeah,
this
no,
is-
it is, yeah.
Yeah, that is the main stair. You'd be funneling right into the main stair tower.
Yeah, I think you would have to, I'm just wondering how you kind of separate, I guess where instead of going into a closet, you would be going to a vestibule that would let you into that kind of on the lower floor of the bi-level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me try to call the architect again.
Or you just have another landing over that stair tower, somehow you get back down. Yeah, with that closet would probably
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah,
But
I
you
think
would-
basically you would just have to accept that that kitchen dining area, which it's really the dining, I mean, it's a fairly, there would be a little piece of that would be given up in order to do what you're saying.
So I talked to the architect, he's in a meeting, he can, like, that meeting ends in 10 minutes, I don't know if you wanna take a recess?
Sure.
Yeah, we don't have a problem with that.
Okay, so,
Take a 10-minute recess.
do you wanna
Alan.
recess to 4:30, I'm sorry, 4:30?
Yeah,
Alan,
that's
if you
fine.
don't, Alan, if you don't mind me asking, what were you gonna ask the architect? Is it a code question? Is it?
Well, there's a suggestion being made, about, how to reorient the staircases and all that. That's above my pay grade.
Yeah, I think I can help you. I'm just not understanding fully the proposal. I mean, I know the layout of the building as it was initially approved and as it's built. It's not as clear on the because the fourth story is only in the rear, the new section of the building. It's basically it's partially a renovation where the front half of the building was all existing and new, and the rear of the building that was it needed to come down, and then an addition was put on, and the fourth story was added. So in the rear of the building, that's where the fourth story is. The only portion of that is accessible is the rear fourth story. Sorry. So let's see. I can't really point anything out on here.
I mean, to
But-
go off what Kevin's
it-
saying, like even if you extend that interior exit enclosure up, you still only have one exit.
Right,
Because the
you're
only way you
two
could-
ways to get into that exit. That's all it does.
Yeah.
I was
No.
actually gonna suggest that maybe we do go into the breakout room while we're waiting for the architect anyhow.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe we should just talk about it.
well, so this is a corner property, how would the board, well, first of all, again, this is a bi-level unit, this fifth unit that goes onto the fourth story. So really our point of entry is on the third story, but how would the board feel about Jacob's ladders?
What are Jacob's ladders?
Oh, those, that's something, the Jacob's ladders are ones that are attached to the lintels as like emergency ladders.
Do they have one that gets you down 4 stories?
I don't know, I'm gonna ask the architect, but we've
Oh.
done it before where we've had, again, that's, my understanding is that there's legislation that was proposed, I don't know if it was enacted by the city of Philadelphia regarding Jacob's ladders. In, you know, with regards to multifamily structures, it's an encouragement, they have an incentive program.
And to answer your question, is they do, it's not not based on stories, it's based on feet. So this building complied at the time, and even still, it's only the 4th story, but the ceiling heights are only 8 feet, which is code. The building does not go past what is the current code, 30, 35, 38 feet. Chris, the architect, can answer that better. But height wise, yeah, those ladders that that will reach ground level. And then additionally, if Alan hadn't mentioned it yet, I didn't hear, but yeah, the building is fully sprinklered as well.
Right. Again, I think if we stepped out for a minute, it would be helpful.
Okay, all right.
So,
Right. Everybody on board?
Yes, Chair.
Okay,
I don't see Ted.
where's he at?
I don't see Ted, you're right. He's still in the room, maybe?
Give him a second.
He is still in the breakout room.
There we
All right.
go.
There he is.
I thought it was-
Okay. Everybody back online? Recording in progress?
Yes.
Okay, all right, is your guy here?
Yes, Chris Johnson of 24/7 Design is now in the virtual audience.
Okay, all right. Amy, you want to explain to them what you're looking at?
Sure. We looked on Google. I'm going to share screen. Why is it not there? I'm sorry, pardon me. So the architecture and structural drawings are showing a very short 3rd, 4th floor, but a very big roof over it. And then when we go to Google, can you see my Google images?
You guys see that?
That 4th floor is much bigger than what you're showing. Like the plans show the roof coming all the way across, but they show the 3rd floor stopping back here somewhere. We're not understanding what was built.
Is this your building?
Yes,
Is this
it
your-
is.
Yeah, do you want to go to the plan then, Amy? Just, yeah. Why don't you
Let's go to the architecture. Like,
Yeah.
why, what is in this space that's much bigger? That was built and is enclosed, but doesn't show up on the 4th floor plan.
Well, but both of those should go all the way to the back of the building.
And they do.
They do?
That's the back of the building.
I mean, well, the front of the building, or is that just, that's sort of.
Well, the original building has a
That's too
3rd
low.
floor that only comes up
Got you, right, okay.
so
it's not-
high.
Okay, got it.
Chris?
Yes.
Right. So there was a question regarding the fact that the roof line goes across to the older structure. So what's it, but from a field perspective, but from a drawing perspective, it only goes 3/4 of the way.
So unfortunately, I don't know if it was noted that, we were not the original architect of record for this project. And we haven't been in this building for the last time I was in this building was maybe 2 years ago. And these are the existing as-builts that we have that we're working from to get approved. So,
Right.
but from my knowledge, that everything that you see there is currently built that way.
Kevin?
Is there just dead space, sort of above the third floor? But below
How
the
you doing, Ted? Actually, if there's a picture, in this set of drawings, there is a section that kind of explains what's going on. Yeah, that kind of explains what's going on.
So it would be really easy to extend the stair tower up to this level. Because it's already enclosed that way.
Yeah, it's already under the roof.
I mean,
And
if we ask you to extend the stair tower up, or the stair up to this 4th floor level, it's still not code compliant, but it makes us feel a lot better.
Right, Amy, it would still be one exit, right?
Right.
Okay,
We have one exit into the stair tower versus having to come down these steps and then into the stair tower here.
Hi, Amy, can you go back to the plan? That would definitely be probably more easier to do than to add another staircase.
I forget, are these the old plans or the new plans? That's the new plan.
Yeah, and
Wait, are these, no, these are the old, correct?
yeah, those are the old plans. Yeah, and those are the same thing as well.
but the other thing is, I mean, am I missing something here? There were floor plans that are labeled basement, but the front of the building, there's 4 floors, and the back of the building, there's 4 floors. Or 4 occupied levels, and
No, the front of the building, there's 3 floors.
not, if you.
Well, if you look at Google, it looks like it's.
If you look at Google, there's windows on 4 floors. I mean, right?
No, I'm sorry, let me go to Google again. So here, there's 1st floor, 2nd floor, 3rd floor.
Okay, only on, I guess it's the part next to that, right there.
This is the stair tower, I think.
That's the stair tower.
Yeah.
That does not exit to grade?
Okay.
No, that's not the stair tower. That if you go over to your left, that door right there. Yep.
Then what is all this space?
So what's that bigger window over there? Yeah, I mean, that doesn't seem to show up in the plans, unless I'm missing something.
So you're telling me the stair tower is right next to that bay. So if I go back to the plans. All right, there's that bay and there's the stair tower. But on the 4th floor, you have windows that extend all the way back to here.
Yeah, so something is, I guess, yeah, something is off then.
The plans that are the currently proposed plans, when were those done?
Did you want me to go find the date on them?
Yeah, if you zoom in, the date is on, yeah. Because these plans that you're looking at now, those are the same exact plans as the approved ones.
2/15/23.
So basically they're the same thing as the previously approved plans.
They look different. Differences. They're not the same. I mean,
like look where this wall is, where that stair tower is. This cuts over the stairs, but in the old plans,
there was no
You know, the stairs are way back here.
Totally different location.
And the drawings are oriented different too.
I know, but still that line, it would be easy to extend these stairs, but in the newer drawings, the stairs got pushed forward under this.
Right, and the size and location of the bedrooms and of there's, I mean, if this was literally all framed out and it was simply a question of jumping forward because it just didn't get finished, that would be one thing, but it seems like it's been redesigned. And it's Amy's saying it may be within an envelope that is not.
And look at the distance where that fourth floor is to this bay. If you go back to Google, that bay is right next to the fourth floor. The fourth floor doesn't stop way back here. There's an extra room up here.
I think, just thinking out loud, that I think this should be continued, or essentially, I think this needs to be looked at, drawn up accurately, resubmitted for the plan examiner to take another look at it, given the real conditions. I mean, we can't evaluate this. I mean, we want to be helpful here, but it appears that there's a lot more living space up on the top fourth floor than the plans indicate. And so our concern about not having two means of egress from the upper floor are not what they would be if the plans were accurate.
Yeah, there's more fourth floor than it appears to show.
All right, well, how about we have a continuance? Chris will do a site visit, update the drawings based on field conditions. And we'll see what the examiner says, and then we can come reconvene.
Yeah, and it may have to be an amended building permit that gets a new refusal. It may be written up differently at that point. So, I mean, I mean, we're willing to see it when the time comes, whatever, but.
Was this an accelerated application? Does anyone know? Alan?
I do not know.
I don't know, Chris.
$200?
You mean ours
Accelerated?
or the building permit application?
I'm talking about the building permit application.
No.
Not the application to the appeal. That was just regular. You're talking
Okay.
about the building permit application.
But what happens is if you continue this case, there won't, in the system, like the applicant will not be able to resubmit a new plan for the examiner to review. So
So
you're
how do
gonna
we have to mark this then?
think you're gonna have to say that, I don't know. Well, what were the options? I'm not sure, Ryan, because this is incomplete, basically. If we have to close it out in the system,
Can it be withdrawn?
they have to withdraw and then resubmit if they want
I'm
the.
not sure, because we don't really have too many things to choose from. It's approved, denied, and moot. But I guess I can write something else in there if we had to.
And Debbie, can we waive the application fee for, resubmitting it? I mean, is that?
Well, if he gets another refusal, you want me to waive that fee? Is that what you're saying? I can't do anything for downstairs at that level where they submit the plans. I don't have access to that.
Yeah, it'll be with the same application. It would just be resubmitting another refusal under the same application.
Okay.
I can waive the BBS appeal fee if that's what you're asking. I can do that.
Right.
I can do that, but I can't do anything for, I don't have clearance to do the other stuff downstairs. So does this have to get closed out then? Is that what you're saying? You just have to
close it
tell me
out
how
and
I have
then-
to do this.
Yeah, you're gonna have to close it out, and then they had to resubmit new plans for Fred to look at it to see if there's any other refusal items. For example, if there's emergency escape and rescue issues. Now that it's 4 stories, It's a R2 standpipes. I don't know if standpipes were proposed in the original submission or not. Most likely not, right? Chris? Chris, you're on mute if you're saying anything.
Yeah,
Well,
Chris,
so-
you're on mute.
unmute.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
we
can
can-
hear you now.
Yeah, I don't believe standpipes were included in the original
Right.
submission. Yeah.
Right. So now that's under the 2018 IBC, then standpipes would be required. It's also
But I
based on
believe
spring-
I believe standpipes may be already in the building already because the building is
Okay.
already it's already fully sprinkled as well.
Okay.
Yeah, with NFPA 13.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if there's a space that wasn't previously reviewed, the examiner will need to re-review the new set of plans that actually mimic what's out there.
Right.
That's the only way we could do a thorough plan review.
So is it possible if we're able to get the existing as-built done fairly quickly to get back in front of you guys?
I think so.
Yeah, but I think what Jason's saying is gonna have to go to the plan examiner, who, when he reviews that, it's possible there might be other refusal items or,
Right.
or,
Yeah.
or in putting it together, you may find a solution that sort of makes, the issue go away, but I don't wanna be presumptuous.
Right.
Because right now, based on the scope, you're legalizing
Yeah.
what was done illegally in the field, so. So be. a
Well,
whole
at the
new-
at the time, at the time when it was originally built, of course, it was legal, but
No, it was legal based on what was shown in the plans, but it looks like you guys have more gross floor area on that fourth floor level.
oh, okay.
So then the other issue with this now is you have to make sure that you have the zoning for it to match. Because if there's any kind of increase in gross floor area, that needs to be documented in zoning.
Yeah.
And depending on when you obtain the zoning, most likely it expires, so you need to file a whole new zoning application. And if it results in a refusal, you have to go in front of the zoning board of adjustments that's approximately 6-7 months. If you were to go down that route.
I mean, it appears that the permit that was issued, way back when was based on inaccurate plan information. So it, arguably was incorrectly permitted. So.
No. So what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, whoever issued out the original permit back in 2015, Alan? So that they might have issued out the permit, with the corresponding zoning, but what was built out in the field wasn't matching the plans. So now they're trying to legalize it. So now they have to make sure their zoning complies and their building complies.
I
So
don't have space. I don't have space. There's barely even space for Val.
You don't have, what do you mean you don't have, you're gonna make house in the front.
Okay,
all right, Alan, does that make sense?
no, I hear what you're saying. All right. I will, I'll talk to my client.
And just so we're clear, I mean, I think that what was built does not match what was on the old permit plans. So, now to legalize it, the existing has to be updated. What if they had followed those plans at that time, it would have been permitted without a second egress because of the code hadn't changed. So by building it wrong, it sort of created a situation that, sort of all bets are off. It can't simply be grandfathered in because they hit the pause button. It's a new
So just so I'm clear, because I don't have all day, this project's just been sitting forever. Like at this point, you're saying now it has to go through a zoning variance process, correct?
I'm not sure
and,
whether it
and
has to go
deal with
through.
this, to try to deal with this community. Are you kidding? Like, where I'm trying to,
Kevin,
mind your
listen to me.
Kevin, he's not saying that. Listen.
Kevin, I'm not saying that. I'm giving you worst case scenarios. I don't know whether you need to get a variance or not, but you have to document.
It's gonna require a variance. They like everything changed in the neighborhood. This is a huge corner parcel, right? The only thing that's permitted it's RSA 5. It's an RSA 5 corner parcel. The only thing permitted is single family. To go to this community, they're not going to issue a variance. They're not going to. So because I don't know what the difference is or how, like, can we just go based off of, and I'll cut the bill if it's a couple foot difference, whatever that is, we'll cut that back in the field. But like the difference has got to be so nominal.
All right, well,
Is the same contractor still involved that built it?
No. But I'm going to take over the project. The building's been sitting. It's been vandalized. Like, it's a corner property in a community. Like,
How long have you stopped construction?
Look at the records. I mean, the building was first approved in 2013.
Answer my question. When did you stop construction?
I don't even have it. So this one's been crazy because it started and then it expired. It had to get, and then it was reapproved once.
When was it expired?
I think 2015. And then from that point, it's sat literally since that point. And then when the resubmission occurred is when it was determined that it did not meet the building code, the new building code for the fourth story, which was permitted back then originally, as you understand, when the code did allow it, as long as you were less than 38 feet. Sprinkler permits.
Kevin or Alan, you need to give me the time frame of when construction stopped, because I think you're gonna have a bigger problem in your hands because zoning you may need to get a new zoning permit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what?
You may need to get a new zoning permit.
That may or may not require a variance.
Where am I going?
I mean, based on what Kevin's saying, it's RSA 5. They won't be able to do that without a variance. Do you know what the decision date was for zoning, Alan?
Decision date, it was RM1 at that point.
No, what I mean is, so if they cut back the building to match the previously approved zoning, right? You know, you could get an extension from your ZBA decision date, you know? So if it was 3 years plus, and then you add another year for an extension date, if you meet it. You know,
Well, I don't follow. This was an RM1, so we got this as of right.
Oh, you had this by right. It didn't go to the zoning board.
That's what Kevin was trying to explain. Was
okay.
that this was RM1 and they downzoned this neighborhood recently. So that's what's going to make it more difficult. This was an as of right project.
I got you.
Yeah, and they may.
And Jay, is the new
because of COVID and delays and that kind of thing, but.
And Jay, hey JS.
Yep.
Yep. The new zoning also.
Yeah,
it keeps going back and forth. The new zoning was issued in 2020 for the existing conditions. And I'm looking now on Atlas.
Yeah.
You guys got to give me a timeline of when construction stopped, and I think I can make a determination based on that. And how long no work has been done on the property, so.
All right.
Chris, can you see from your records when the most recent building permit was active?
2015. Well, no, I'll take that back.
Yeah, it
looked like 2019 that that's when the sprinkler system got installed.
But as Chris stated, it looks like there's again, I'm on that list too. There's a date of March 12th of 2020 for this permit for this building, this rear addition.
Based on the original design or the new design? I assume the original.
I would believe it's based on the, I don't want to say that. So I would have to have Chris go through clips and see what was submitted.
So I'm looking, and in 2020, there was a refusal for zoning, and it was granted that you got it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. August of 2020. Well, wait, no, it's October of 2020. It was granted. There's a scheduled date. So we're well within the 3 years. So I think we have overcome that hurdle.
I think the next step is try to figure out what's out in the field, have Chris draw up the plans, and we have to match the zoning. And then we might have to do an administrative for zoning, unless you guys are going to cut the building back to match the zoning.
Yes, cut the building back to match.
Is it, I mean, I'm looking at this, and it looks like it's only 3, maybe 4 residential units, not 5. Looks like the number changed, I think, between the 2 sets of drawings.
Are there any commercial units in it? Or
Yeah, there's commercial.
So maybe the
Our
unit
zoning is for 5.
gets labeled unit 5, right, on the,
Yeah, I think so too. I think the upper level unit was labeled 5. That bi-level unit was labeled 5.
Okay, I was looking at, maybe I was looking at the original ones. It was not 5 units back then.
Yeah, I think it's under 103-4555. It says 5-unit household living, 4-story rear addition. This was okay. As long as you match this application number, I think you guys should be okay. The expiration date for this zoning permit is December 21st, 2023. I went by based on the information you gave me, saying that you obtained the original zoning permit from 2013. That's why I made all those statements.
So
Guys,
you
good
just
with
said
that?
December 21st, 2023.
Yes.
For your zoning, you're 18. So the application number is 103-4555. There was a zoning permit issued by Christopher Johnson. So Christopher, it looks like it was a. Yeah, you guys went to the zoning.
5 units. Yeah, we went to 5 units. And we got granted.
Okay.
So, like you said, Jason, it sounds like the easiest solution would be to get some more as-built, and see what's there, and then come back before you guys.
You have to go in front of the examiner to see what's matching or not.
Right.
But yeah.
Can we go back before? I think Fred was the examiner. Can we go back with him?
Yes.
Okay.
It might just be you have to show that bigger enclosure on the 4th floor that is over the stair tower.
Because the building the building size has not changed.
Right, but it's not accurately depicted on the drawings.
Okay,
So, and I think it's the fourth floor needs to be shown as larger. Even though it's over a stair tower, there's still an enclosure up there.
okay,
Yeah, and if there's any space that's been closed off or is not accessible, just somehow that needs to be clearly shown in plan and section. So, you'll get there.
okay, so just to
Okay,
recap, we're gonna get some as-built in and then we can resubmit this to Fred, JS?
Yep.
Okay,
Is that we're resubmitting for zoning?
no,
No.
zoning, no,
So-
we're fine with zoning, Kev.
Okay, so it needs to be resubmitted as with the as-built. And then when the refusal comes back, it's going to determine what the reasons for the refusal are, and then we're gonna go back in front of the building review board.
Correct.
Right,
Okay.
so this is I'm sharing my screen. This is what was previously approved for zoning back in 2020. So it looks like this matches what's shown out in the field right now, right?
We can't see it. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks like it matches the windows are a little different, but yeah.
Yeah, close
Yeah,
enough.
they won't look at windows and zoning, so I think we should be okay. Yeah, as long as the existing conditions meet all the areas referenced on this zoning plan, I think you're okay.
Okay.
So Jace, would it make sense for them now to, in these new revised plans, extend that stair tower up?
Okay.
Yeah, they can. I mean, this is if they do any kind of deviation from this, they have to go back in front of the zoning board.
But the stair tower would be within that enclosure, so it's not.
Then it should be okay. But remember, you still only have one exit on the fourth floor level, so you would need.
Right, but it might, looking ahead, it might be more palatable to us when we.
Right.
Okay. So we'll show that extended up, depending on the conditions of the field, but we'll show that stair being extended up, showing that as new.
Okay.
All right.
okay.
So is this being continued?
I think we might have to just deny this one, and then we'll just add another review for this, and then they'll just refuse the next one, I think.
Okay,
I think that might be
so
the
just
best
deny
course.
it. Or I'm sorry, okay,
Deny it because you'll just state that, accurate building plans were not provided for the board to review. Updated set to be reviewed by plan examiner, and then we'll just add a new MI number for the next hearing, if that's okay with everyone.
Well, can we just say it's moot? We can just withdraw this and we'll make this moot and we'll just resubmit.
You can do it that way too.
I rather have moot than denied.
Okay.
All right,
It's up to the board. It's not me.
That's
that's
fine.
fine,
Fine with me.
fine,
so what did we decide? I'm sorry, I missed that.
They're gonna withdraw.
withdraw.
Oh, they're gonna withdraw,
Yeah.
okay.
We're gonna resubmit.
So I'll just close out this MI and then that'll be. Or,
Moot withdrawn, yeah, and close it.
But just to be clear, James, Fred will still be able to be the examiner for this one though, right?
Yes, we'll
Okay.
keep the application open. I don't know how, but I suggest that you submit the application as soon as possible before he cancels.
Yep, okay.
Okay,
I'm
any
gonna
other
need,
questions?
I just need a withdrawal letter from someone saying you're withdrawing the appeal application.
I'll make sure my office sends something.
Thank you,
tomorrow.
that's fine. You can have your office send me something by email.
Okay,
That'll be great.
thank you.
Okay. Good luck, guys.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, let the